Buenas tardes.
Hola.
Buenas tardes.
Thank you for coming and joining me today and sharing your thoughts about the High School Spanish 1 class. I'm going to go ahead and ask you some questions here, and we're going to start with Sarah. Sarah, in what ways do you feel more confident in using Spanish now compared to before you started the class?
I feel more confident in my pronunciation of Spanish. Since we get to practice speaking to one another in class, that really helps me with my pronunciation, learning how to say the language. And it's really helpful to hear other people speak and be able to translate it.
Kinsley?
I feel like I found it easier to start speaking Spanish, like what Sarah was saying, hearing the different ways that everyone pronounces it so that I can figure out the way to speak it.
Kinsley, did the teaching methods used in this class help you learn effectively? And if so, which methods were most helpful to you?
I really liked the way that you broke every single part of speaking it down. The way to learn is to break every single syllable down when teaching a word, especially in Spanish since it's pronounced differently. So I think you teaching it by breaking every single thing down was really helpful.
Sarah?
What helped me most was probably when we did the exercises together in class, because you got to correct me and it helped me do my homework better then.
Kinsley, how would you describe the atmosphere of the class and the interactions with your peers while learning Spanish?
I felt like it was very easy not to get embarrassed because uh, obviously none of us have ever spoken Spanish. So it was easier to not feel so judged because we were all learning. The atmosphere was very open and positive.
Sarah?
Very relaxed and encouraging. If I ever made a mistake, I never felt bad about it because we were all learning, like Kinsley said. Yeah, very encouraging.
Muy bien. Sarah, did I make you want to join in and get involved during class? And if so, what were some of the things that I did to make that happen?
Yes, I did always want to participate and I always wanted to try and answer questions. I think most of it was just because I knew that if I did mess up, it wasn't a big deal and I would learn from it.
Kinsley?
Yeah, kind of like what Sarah was saying. I liked that I didn't have to be so worried about not knowing if it was right or wrong, because either way, you still would have helped. You weren't gonna be like short-tempered or get aggravated because we didn't know.
Okay. Kinsley, if someone asked you what Senora Stacko is like as an instructor, what would your response be?
Very bubbly and very positive and very helpful.
Sarah?
I would say patient, relaxed, thorough, and fun.
Sarah, what are your thoughts about the class pace? Was it too fast, too slow, or just right?
I think it's just right. Since we're learning a language, I needed time to memorize so I could speak, and I think I had plenty of time between class to do that.
Kinsley?
I think it was just right too. I think that you gave us enough time in between everything to really work on it and break it down.
Kinsley, was there ever a time when you found something that was really tough in the class, but then you totally nailed it and you felt super proud?
Yes, the first time we started doing the conjugations, I was so confused. But I think, again, just like working on memorizing it and not getting aggravated by it, I ended up being able to get it right.
Sarah?
Same thing as Kinsley. The conjugation was really confusing at first, but the more we went through it and the more I practiced it, it was fine.
Yeah. Sarah, would you recommend this class to other students? And if so, why?
Definitely, because there's not a lot of pressure in class. It's very relaxed and you learn a lot. You really do. Like, I can't believe I can speak as much Spanish as I can just from a Spanish 1 class.
Kinsley?
I would definitely recommend it too, because someone who doesn't already pronounce things well, I think your class was really helpful to pronounce stuff in English and also in Spanish. And it was just all around really helpful.
Kinsley, did you feel comfortable asking me questions and getting help from me? Were my answers quick? And did they make Spanish easier for you to get?
I always felt very comfortable asking questions. And every time like you would answer, it was always very helpful and I understood it very well.
Sarah?
Yeah, I was very comfortable as well. I think there were times I emailed you outside of class and we just went back and forth until I understood, but your answers are very clear. They always click with me.
Begin. Sarah, what do you think you've learned the most in Spanish 1?
I've learned a lot. I think I've learned the most about writing and speaking. My pronunciation is the big thing since we get to practice talking together.
Kinsley?
I think the thing that I like learned most about in Spanish 1 was definitely how to pronounce everything. It was very helpful to pick up on all of the other words after really focusing on the alphabet and the pronunciation of it all.
Kinsley, do you feel confident about using Spanish in real life situations? Or have you had a chance to use your Spanish skills outside of class?
I do feel comfortable using the Spanish language in real life situations. I did get to use it and I ended up making a friend because of it.
Can you share just a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, I was at a dance competition and a studio from Mexico was attending, and the tap teacher was like, "Oh, go make a new friend." I turned around and I read the girl's name on her name tag. I could tell that it was spelled in Spanish. So I just talked to her in Spanish and she ended up reciprocating back to me. And we had a full-on conversation and became friends.
Sarah, what about you?
I haven't had a chance yet. Everybody speaks English where I live, but I find that in my day-to-day life speaking English, there are so many things I'm like, oh, I can say that in Spanish now, and I'll say it and annoy people around my house that they don't know what I'm saying when I talk in Spanish.
Okay. Sarah, did you think that there were any parts of the class that could have been better or changed to help you to learn more effectively?
I think everything was really effective and thorough. The quizzes were great. I learned a lot from them. No, I don't think I'd change anything.
Kinsley?
I don't think I would change anything either. I think that all of the quizzes and the tests and the homework all made complete sense.
All right, Kinsley, thinking about your time in this class, did it meet your expectations? And looking back, what would you say was the coolest part about learning Spanish in this particular class, in Spanish 1?
I didn't have a lot of expectations for it because I've never done school through Zoom. So I was very impressed by how much I learned through it. I would definitely say the coolest part about learning Spanish is whenever everything just starts to click constantly, just like one after the other. It's like light bulbs just going off, and it's really nice.
Sarah?
I had lower expectations for the class just because it was online style. I had taken a college credit plus that was online, and it was very hard to communicate with the instructor, and it was just hard to learn online. So it definitely exceeded my expectations because I can't believe how much I've learned. The coolest part was probably having you as an instructor because you did so many things to make it fun, like the Spanish TV series that we watched, and Kahoot and playing Hangman. It was really fun.
Muy bien. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you again for sharing your thoughts with me. I hope that other students will watch this video and that it will help them in deciding whether this class would be a good fit for them. Adios.
Adios.